the year level. Couldn't get the deal done. And now you go from Cincinnati, who hasn't found ways to win, to be in Baltimore with a winning culture, with a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, with people like Kyle Hamilton on your side of the football, and you also got that bag.
Yeah.
For Trey Hendrickson, you are the winner far and away. And not only do you go to a team that gave you the money, you go to a team that still has their first-round pick in this draft.
Yeah, and they have issues with an interior to offensive line they can address. Maybe they could use another weapon, losing likely. But I think the huge thing for the Ravens, we talked about the trickle-down effect of having a rush in like they would have with Max Crosby. You still get a lot of that. The Ravens' defense is incredibly talented, but because pass rusher is the most important position, they have to, contort their defense in a way that compromises other parts in order to get pressure. Now, we don't got to blitz Kyle Hamilton if we don't want to.
Yeah.
Now, we know that you're going to be sliding your line to wherever Trey is, and we can blitz off the other side. We don't have to send guys all the time. So it puts them in a position to have more flexibility than they had last year.
And you can tell based on their actions that they agree that with because they were willing to trade 2 first-round picks for one, and they're willing to commit $28 million a year to a 31-year-old edge rusher. They know, they can't pretend anymore. Oh, we'll scheme it up. We'll get we'll shop in the bargain bin. They needed a dominator.
Yeah, and there's a lot of talk, obviously, about the Ravens backing out of this trade and how it was handled and all of that, and a lot of vitriol, sort of slings and arrows being thrown in the direction of their general manager, Eric DeCosta, yesterday. Here's how he addressed the entire situation.
I understand how people maybe from afar would feel that way, but nobody's more upset about this than me. Gutted by it, actually, and so a big regret for me, but we will move on as a football team.
How do you will move on? That any concern of...
Okay. I guess this is a good time to stop it right there. Well, good evening, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Jobu Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope you're all having a great day. I see Gina Dallas Diva. Be careful out there driving. Appreciate you being here, Gina Dallas Diva. What's crazy is, I have to say I've got the best fans in the world because I met Gina and her husband when we were out at training camp a few years back. Gina was actually at a Dallas Cowboys game, and she was listening to our live stream there at the game. I mean, if that isn't the highest of praise, I really and truly appreciate you. There's Roland's Review. Shout out to Roland's Review, who I met actually at one of my tailgates. Shout out to Roland's Review. There's Holly Pierce. What's up, Holly? How are you doing? We just appreciate all of you lovely ladies. There's Chris May, Spare None, excuse me. Alan Williams, JD, TS. I don't even know who that is. I wish we could go back to the old days when it used to be actually your name that was on there so we get everybody right. Broken Halos in the house. A Crowns in the house. Let's see. Who else is here? Roland's Review. Jeff Lee. My name is Jeff. What's up? And we got Dirty Nasty Sanchez. Everybody. And there we go. Help me, Rhonda. Shout out to Rhonda. Rhonda, you are just rolling up the numbers on your YouTube channel. I remember when you were one of the small people just beginning. I love what you're doing with the channel. Shout out to you. So, which side of the fence are you on right now with the Dallas Cowboys? Because we have some people who seem to be happy, like me. Then there's some people that are like, where's the all in? Oh, excuse me, not all in. Forget it. Oh, shit. There's so many Jerry Jones, idiotisms. Okay. And I think I made that up because I think of idiotism. Okay. There's so many of those idiotisms that Jerry Jones had. It's kind of like, why do we listen? Why do we want to believe that he's actually going to do the right thing for us? Okay. Because he say, there's not a scenario out there where we don't see that we're going to bust the bank. And see, the thing is there's expectations are building blocks of resentment. I learned years ago, don't tell people what they want to hear. Tell them the truth. They may be upset with you about the truth of what's going on, but better to go ahead and deal with that instead of setting up expectations. See, I learned that because I used to say, I'd get a job to build kitchen cabinets, and I would say, oh, I can get them done in 3 weeks, which I knew was pushing it. And they'd be like, wow, 3 weeks, that's incredible. And it took 4 weeks. And after 3 weeks and 1 day, you said it was going to take 3 weeks. It's like, yeah, well, it took a little longer than I thought, and then the customer's upset. Had I said it's going to take 5 weeks, they go, oh man, that's longer. Oh, come on, man. Can't you? No, it's going to take 5 weeks. But then you get it done in 4, you're a hero. You're a hero because there weren't any expectations set up. But Jerry Jones just can't help himself. We're going all in. Jerry, shut the F up. You're the reason why Cowboy fans are pissed the hell off. We're going to bust the bank. Well, what's your definition of bust the bank, Jerry? What's your definition? Because the fans' definition of bust the bank is we're going to go out there and we're going to get the best of everything. It doesn't matter what it costs, okay? Max Crosby, we're going to get that guy. We're going to get Trey Henderson out there, right? We're just going to go out there, and if it costs a whole lot of money, okay, because somebody else is paying the bill, we going to get it. And that's not what you did. Now, that's not to say your bank isn't busted, because you have done a lot of things. You have done a lot of things. You've basically, I look at it and say, you brought in 3 credible starters as opposed to what you did last year. Last year, when you look at the people they brought in, not too many of them you could look at. Philly D in the house, Chris May in the house, Thomas Garrett. What's up, Thomas? How are you doing? Momo, what's up? Oh, Momo, I forgot to call. Yeah, you know what? It slipped my mind that you called me and wanted to be on the show. We'll have to do it another time. Lovely Linda. What's up, Linda? Trip Ace is in the house. Crazy Corvette. But the Cowboys have been doing good things. When you look at the Cowboys getting Jalen Thompson, I think that's a really good hot pickup. That's a starter at safety. When you think of Rashawn Gary, that's not Micah Parsons. Rashawn Gary has been a very good player for his whole career. Now, some people say, well, he had 7.5 sacks start season, didn't get any more until, the end of the season. Well, guys, how many people did we have on our team that got 7.5 sacks last year that weren't named Clowney? How many? How many people on the Seattle Seahawks had more than 7.5 sacks this year, and they won the Super Bowl? Nico, what's up, Nico? I see my blanket right over there. I see my blanket. Shout out to Nico. I've got the best fans in the world. I have so many things that have been given to me from you guys. It's back. It's time to start giving back. So we've got ourselves, look, we got the blue bucket, and we're going to do a drawing tonight for a shirt. Putting in all your names again. We're getting back to our roots and things. So just re-signed Clowney. I think he may get re-signed before it's all said and done. I think that's one of those ones they're waiting as long as possible, so that way they're hoping that nobody will sign him, but they're waiting and waiting and waiting to see will somebody else, or making sure that nobody else will get him. And the longer that goes, the more desperate he may be, and the better the deal will be. And so, as we go through, here is the list of what we have done so far. Okay, this is the whole list. And I have to say, before I do the list, for those out there that say that the Cowboys haven't done shit, let's take a stroll back through memory lane here, okay? This was 4 years ago.
This is the worst Dallas Cowboys offseason of the century, Mac?
Name me one. Yeah, I was thinking about this yesterday, Kevin, and I can't think of a headline. I can't think of, we're almost at 4 months in, right? We're almost at April. And I went back to January 1. Think about how negative it's all been.
Yeah.
And I, you know, God bless the Cowboys. I know you guys are the flagship. They let you guys say whatever you want to say. For my 3 years there's only one time, Sean, that they said, yeah, don't ask that question. Everything else, it's been fair game.
Yeah.
Not everybody does that. We saw with the Washington Commanders.
Yes.
Their flagship station saying, oh, thank God we can talk about the Commanders now. no longer affiliated with them.
Right.
So, but I looked at really, when I looked at just like a day-by-day timeline, you know, they beat the Eagles on January 8th. They lost 2 out of their 3 games, right? Mm-hmm. They blamed the officials for basically 2 of the 3 losses, which is terrible. Dak Prescott sits there and endorses fans throwing junk at officials after the San Francisco game. He has to come out and apologize. You've got a PR director who retires. No big deal. 2 weeks later, there's this horrible story about him being accused of voyeurism, which he denied.
Yep.
But the Cowboys have to throw a $2.5 million check at 4 cheerleaders. Dak Prescott has another surgery. The Cowboys trade a wide receiver that they used the number 1 pick on back in 2018 in exchange for a 5th because the coaching staff doesn't like him, right? Then they give all this money to a guy who tore his ACL on January 2nd. Michael Gallup's not going to be ready for camp, right? Tank Lawrence is their best pass rusher. He comes back, that's a highlight. Jerry Jones gets named in a, Springer-like lawsuit. Randy Gregory, whom the Cowboys stuck by despite the fact that he had done nothing for them for years, gives them the middle finger, right, on a flip. Then they've got to cut Lyle Collins because the coaching staff didn't like him. But they kept their punter.
Mac, why is Stephen Jones the Alan Greenspan of the NFL?
That's a great one-liner, by the way.
Thank you very much. Because it's so, we see all these teams talk about, we're in cap hell, and then they go out and they trade for Tyreek Hill, or they make these giant moves and add this big contract. I know the salary cap is a real thing, and I've talked to Stephen Jones, whom I like a lot, and he has come to admit and embrace the idea, if you're going into free agency, that means you're overspending on that player because you made a big mistake 2 or 3 years ago. Okay, that's fine. That's sound philosophy.
Yeah.
And are you getting any better? The Dallas Cowboys today on March 25th, are they any better today, Sean?
No
than
way.
They were on. Okay.
And no one, not even the biggest Homer fan.
All right. Shout out to lovely Linda. Dallas made great strides to cast a wide net for depth. This is a lackluster free agency. Don't be fooled by not making a big splash. It's a marathon. Shout out to lovely Linda. So I want you to think about that. Great strides, okay? Big Spank Dog. Oh, Lordy. Oh, that's Big Spank Dog there. Great strides. Now compare that offseason, which led to a 12-5 year. Compare that to where we are now. It was March 25th, and they had only signed their punter, which reminded me about the Eagles, who just today or yesterday signed their punter. Basically, that and they got a cornerback. That's all the Eagles have done. So let's go through what the Dallas Cowboys, in comparison to that, because see, this is where we end up being pissed off. He said all in. Well, for Jerry Jones, this is busting the bank. By comparison, we ended up before that year. We took Amari Cooper and we sent him to Cleveland for a 5th-round pick. At least Osa Odighizuwa goes to San Francisco and you get a 3rd. How is it that we got more draft compensation for Osa Odighizuwa than we did for Amari Cooper? not only that, you send Solomon Thomas to the Titans and you get a 7th. You have more draft capital to try and fill some holes, to trade and move up in the draft, or trade for another player in the NFL. So, the free agency period, of course, just started on Sunday. Before that, we re-signed our running back, Javonte Williams. And you'll remember, a couple years ago, we let go Zeke. Then the next year, we let go Tony Pollard. And we brought in scrap heap guys. Javonte Williams, let me remind you, had the best rushing season of any Dallas Cowboy player since 2019 Zeke Elliott. We traded for Rashawn Gary. Now, Rashawn Gary, you're going to look and say, well, that's not Myles Garrett. That's not Trey Henderson. But he is a really good starting outside linebacker who fits the system that they're trying to do. We re-signed cornerback Josh Butler. That one doesn't really move the needle, but it's depth and special teams. We re-signed cornerback Reddy Stewart. Okay, again, depth, special teams. Signed safety P.J. Locke, who can be a starter, but more of a backup role. We re-signed Sam Williams, and I'm not mad about Sam Williams for $3 million. Sam Williams is a great special team player as long as he doesn't get a penalty. That's the big knock on him. Sometimes he'll get an unnecessary roughness. But I don't know that we can judge what happened last year because of him coming back from his ACL. When he came in the first half of the season, he was not good. And you could tell he was unsure still on that leg. And to me, it takes time to really recover. But as the season progressed, Sam Williams' numbers started to get really good. In fact, if I'm correct on this, I believe he was the only Dallas Cowboys defender whose numbers got better as the season went on, which, not that that's saying a lot, but that says a lot for him. Alan Williams, I'm good, bro. How are you? James Snyder, JP Louch, played with Overshone in Texas. Sugar Daddy in the house. What's going on? Talking about really good. Holly Sugar Daddy, can y'all hold off in the TO tonight, please? Okay. And Jeff Lee loves boobies. Okay. We signed defensive tackle. I can't pronounce his name. I'm going to call him OG. Okay. OG Benina. Okay. Defensive tackle. Now, here's what I'm going to say about this, because we have a lot of people that are pissed off about Osa Odighizuwa. They're like, oh my God, how are you going to get rid of a player like that? Well, not every player fits the scheme that you're trying to run. And Osa Odighizuwa is light in the ass. He's got great hands because he was a wrestler, and he's a good speed rusher. But with us trying to do this gap and a half system, this 3-4 defense, they're looking at bigger defensive tackles. And this is where Tito, Dallas in 2005, why do you always talk about the Eagles? Have I mentioned the Eagles so far tonight? I appreciate the super chat. Thank you. But I've been in here. Wait, hold on. Wait. Have I said anything about the Eagles tonight? Have I said anything about the Eagles tonight? I don't think I have. I've talked about. Let me see. I've talked about Jerry Jones, and whether we were all in or busting the bank. I've talked about the list of players that we had. I think I went back 3 years ago. I know I talked about Amari Cooper. I believe we talked. Yeah, okay. Amari Cooper and Sam. No, there was no Eagle talk. No. Sorry, but to my defense, we do have a lot of Eagle fans that do come to roost here on this channel. And so I want to give them something to talk about. And in my defense, look, John, you know why I say something? You know why I say something about the Eagles tonight? Because you guys actually brought them up. You guys brought them up. And understand, me talking about the Eagles is out of respect and wishing that my team was better than yours. Do you hear me mentioning the Giants or the Commanders? Sorry, Momo. No. The Eagles are a roadblock to where I want to be. The Eagles are a problem that I have to solve. So why wouldn't I? Am I supposed to act like they don't exist? You literally said the Cowboys signed their punter, and it did. And that does. So Dallas, appreciate the super chat. That was. Pamela Savage in the house. What's up, Pamela? Well, truth be told, Dallas 505. It was meant to be a knock on the Eagles because they haven't done much this offseason, and their pants are on fire. And so when I talked about how that offseason was for us, it kind of correlates to the Eagles that really have only signed their punter. Is it? Let me check, because honest officer, I don't want to break the law. Am I not allowed to mention the Eagles? I was just driving home, officer. Honest, I haven't had anything to drink. Yeah. Well, you do realize that Philly 500 in his intros usually has me melting down on him, right? You do realize that I have Eagle fans that are here constantly, right? You know, when you have Philly D, he's not a Cowboy fan. Linda, she's not a Cowboy fan. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, back to this. We traded Osa Ndigazua, and we ended up getting a third-round pick from San Francisco. We traded Solomon Thomas. We got a seventh-round pick, a seventh-round swap, which moved us from 225 to 218. We brought in Sam Howell and let go Will Grier. We re-signed Tavarius Wheat, who we had a couple years ago, more depth. We got actually a more experienced offensive lineman than Brock Hoffman with Matt Hennessy. Yeah, we got some Hennessy in the house. We got cornerback Kobe Durant. And mind you, here's the thing about Kobe Durant that I really like is he had at least 3 interceptions during the regular season. He had 3 interceptions in the playoffs. So this is a guy who's played well in the playoffs. I don't know why you're so defensive. I was just wondering. Okay. No, because I'm sorry, Dallas. But, you know what, Dallas? Keep wondering. I like the super chats, though. What I tell you what happens is I get Eagle fans that come in here and swear that they're living rent-free in my head. That they're living, we just live rent free. You're scared of us and everything else. I was like, am I not allowed to mention them? But I appreciate the super chats. Hello, Holly. Hello, Holly Pierce. Boobies up and away. Oh my goodness. Dem boys kicks, man. What's going on? What's up with the draft? Hopefully, we'll be there, ready to rock and roll and do some great things. Caitlin in the house. What's up, Caitlin? Okay. And we also re-signed tight end Prince Fant. So that's what we've done thus far, okay? Whew. Compare that to 4 years ago. Do you still feel like the Cowboys haven't done anything? And I know I'm shoveling the shit for Jerry Jones right now. I've fallen back in the trap. I've fallen back in the trap of being hopeful that this team will be good. But here's the thing. Love all this. Love it all. I'm not that guy that looks at trying to get one piece. We just get one great guy. No, that's not the way it works. This is great. This is a good start. But we ain't got a linebacker. Well, we do. We've got a group of guys that play linebacker. But we don't have a lights-out linebacker. That's right now our Achilles heel. and for this defense to work, and what I want you to understand is, people will go through and say, well, Kenny Clark sucks, man, and Quentin Williams, we still weren't great stopping the run. It's like, let me explain to you, especially the nose tackle. I can remember back at JMU, right? Back at JMU, we are in it's a JV game, right? I'm nose tackle. And I remember it was 3rd down and long. And I shot the gap. I literally got into the quarterback's hip pocket and I tackled the running back as he was getting the ball. Stopped him on 3rd down. And I'm feeling good. Yeah! Yeah! And I'm running off the sideline, and the coach comes over to me, and he's pissed off as a mother humper. Holmes, get your ass over here. And I'm like, dude, what's up, man? I just stopped him on 3rd down. He's like, what is your assignment? I said, I'm supposed to put my hands on the center, read and react to where he's going, but I got the ball carrier. He said, when you don't do your assignment, you're not there to get the tackles and the glory. You're there to occupy space and occupy the line. And I will never forget that, because I was just like, I literally went from wanting to be, praise me, to wanting to cry. I got cussed out. And that's what you have to understand. When you saw games and you saw Kenneth Murray, where there's a hole right here, and that's where the back's coming, and everybody else is in a lane, they're all occupying their gap. They're all occupying the offensive line. And the problem is, the linebacker couldn't read and react to where the ball carrier is. His job, he's unmolested. The offensive line's doing his job. If the linebacker can't make the tackles, it doesn't matter what the defensive line does. And that's the thing. At John, stop hating. Mark Holmes is happy now. Wait till December. Oh. We are lacking pass rushers. Are we in desperate need of Jerry and Catboy? Can't sell us, tired of the same old song. Prince, we are only on day 3 of the NFL New Year. What I think would make this a home run off season, one, seeing I'm going to mention the Eagles. Okay, program note, I'm going to mention the Eagles. Okay? And the reason I'm going to mention the Eagles is the Eagles are 2-time winners of the NFC East. 2 seasons ago, they went on and they won the Super Bowl. I have to get past them for me to have anything for my season. So I'm going to mention them. When you look at the Eagles, they have time to course correct, but it seems like they're having a harder offseason than typical for them. When you look at the coaches that they've lost, when you look at how their offense was last year, the fact that they went out and they got an unexperienced offensive coordinator who had only been a quarterback coach for 2 years, you look at that and say that's a downgrade. When you look at it and say that the offensive line has been very beat up and looking old, that's a downgrade for them. When you look at that and you say, yes, they lost their great standout offensive line coach, that's a step back. When you say that the Cowboys got a guy who knows where the bodies are buried as their defensive coordinator, who'll know a lot of the weaknesses that the Eagles have, that's a downgrade for the Eagles. And so the Cowboys should smell some blood in the water. And the Eagles, because of what they've done in the past here, which is basically minimizing the contracts in the front end and paying guys early and throwing all that money down the road have gotten themselves to the point where there's not a lot of wiggle room to go ahead and get guys like they used to, which is why a guy like Jalen Phillips goes elsewhere. That's why a guy like Trey Henderson has to go elsewhere, because they don't have the money to pay those guys as well. Now, they're working and dealing some contracts and pulling money and stuff, but they're not going to be wild spenders like they've been in the past. And this is an opportunity for the Cowboys to try and say, let's go in, because they haven't done shit in free agency over the last 10 years. This is an opportunity to get better. Now, we have the coaches the Eagles were working at Home Depot lots before they got there. Damn, Jeremiah. Damn. That's card. Coyote, what's going on? So that's what I'm saying is the Cowboys have a chance, but they have to get talent. They have to catch up to the Eagles of talent. And for Eagle fans, I'm not knocking you. I'm telling you, you're a good team. You're a good team. And I got to respect that. So this morning when I got up, and it was like 6:30 in the morning, I'm sitting here seeing breaking news. The Cowboys ended up signing Durant. I was just like, at midnight? This is Cowboys usually the Dallas Cowboys are on vacation. I can't even go to bed now. The Cowboys are signing people. So, yeah. Now, a couple of players we had have actually signed contracts elsewhere. So, then that means we definitely don't have to worry about those. Wanye Thomas to the Colts. Congratulations. Thomas played in 36 games for the Cowboys since joining as an undrafted free agent in 22. He spent this year on the practice squad before making the team in 23. His first NFL game saw him start on defense and then he blocked a field goal in return for a touchdown. Thomas also scored a special team touchdown in 24 against Washington in a kickoff. Thomas was one of two unrestricted free agent safeties, Donovan Wilson, for the Cowboys, who have signed two this offseason, in Jalen Thompson and P.J. Locke. So congratulations. Glad you got a new job. Jalen Tolbert, lightning strikes twice. If you guys remember, Cedric Wilson, who benefited from us having Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. Cedric Wilson, who Philly 500 will say, Dak Prescott has always had great players. He had Cedric Wilson. Like Cedric Wilson. He acted like Cedric Wilson was, Jerry Rice or something. Dak made Cedric Wilson. That and the receivers that we had in front of him. He had 640 yards. Signed a nice contract to go to Miami, and then proceeded not to get on the field. So now Jalen Tolbert is now signing with the Miami Dolphins, just like Cedric Wilson. According to reports, wide receiver Jalen Tolbert has agreed to terms on a deal with the Miami Dolphins. Tolbert, 27, caught 91 passes for 1,093 yards and 10 TDs in 4 seasons with the Cowboys. In 24, Tolbert led the team in receiving touchdowns with 7. After the Cowboys traded Pickens, Tolbert seemed to be in a good position for wide receiver 3 behind Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. Instead, Tolbert had an up-and-down season, playing just 13 games and being healthy scratch in 4 during the 25 season. Second-year wide receiver Ryan Fanoy, I just can't wait to see him get his first catch. He's got some Dez Bryant in him. Established himself as a wide receiver rotation instead. Shout out to Sean Davies. Commanders and Giants have broken the bank, yet you only mentioned the Eagles. My Skins had the worst D last year and signed 6 defense and 1 or 2 offensive players in the top 50 free agents, and a total of 9 new players. Well, shout out to you, Sean. Thank you for the super chat, and I have to get caught up on that. But truth be told, Sean, you didn't have a worse defense than we did. Yours was bad. But your defense, I wish my team had only been as bad as your defense. And you're right. I do need to catch up on Commanders fans as well. Commanders, that's what I got Momo for. Oh, no, I forgot. Momo only talks about Cowboys, doesn't he? Okay. I forgot about that. So those are the two signings of ours. And I think Brock Hoffman signed with somebody. Who did Brock Hoffman sign for? Can't remember. Brock Hoffman signed with somebody. So Brock will definitely not be coming back. John Wembley said, because Mark always has Eagles on the brain. Okay. All right. So we're in a good place. I went to bed last night on Over the Cap. The Cowboys had $1 million of cap space. And I woke up this morning and I got out of bed. I found out the Cowboys had signed Kobe Durant and Pittsburgh. Dem boys kicks. We're going to the draft. Did you want to go to the draft? Dem boys kicks. I forgot to. I didn't send you a text about that. Oh shit. Okay, send me a text, man. I'll see if we got space because not everybody's confirmed yet who's going. So let's see if I have space for it. We got a cabin that's in Pittsburgh, and it's a 3-bedroom place, and I don't think I can take more than 8. Okay, so let me see what I can do because I think I got 9 people who've said they're going, so I'm actually over at the moment, but we'll see what we can do. Because you tiny, man. You can sleep in the bathtub if you have to. Okay, I'm kidding about that. I got the bathtub. Okay, to make this a really good offseason, the Cowboys do need to get somebody big time. Edge rusher, linebacker, they need to get a legitimate stud. I don't know if it's Max Crosby. But here's the thing. This may be an opportunity to get a talented guy. Now, I want to say shout out to, and for I know I'm going to get in trouble here. Okay. You all do know I do go on the Dan Salio show on Wednesdays, right? Which is an Eagles channel, right? You know that, okay? All right. So the Eagles, and we're joined at the hip, okay? And so it's a rivalry that matters. So here's the thing with the Cowboys. The Cowboys, I know, but you know what, though? Here's what I'm going to say, Thomas. Jerry Jones didn't rule it out. And you know how, you and I know, Thomas, how much the Cowboys like a bargain. You know that, yeah, they're out with I mean, if they were willing to go in with a 1 and a 2, what if it ended up being, a 2 and a 3? You know what I'm saying? What if it ended up being a 2 and a 3? I know they think that maybe he's going to have a shortened career. Nah, he didn't exactly say he was out this morning. But James, do you really take what Jerry Jones says 100% that he won't change? I remember him saying, you can't think of the Dallas Cowboys without Dez Bryant. And then 2 months later, Dez Bryant was cut. We had, that Brandon Wheaton, he throws the prettiest pass out there, and then he got cut that week. He got cut that week. Do you remember Jerry Jones say, we're going all in? And we didn't? So if he says we're not in on Max Crosby, do y'all go car shopping and don't buy no used cars now. Don't buy these new cars have kill switches in them, and they have software systems in them that won't allow you to like change your oil filter or put oil in it. You got to go to the damn dealer to get these things serviced by design, because it's another way they can shake more money out your ass. Okay? So stick with your older cars. I'm telling you. Remember, when you buy that brand new shiny car, it's so nice. Look at my new car. Yeah. And all of a sudden, every time you got to get oil change, you got to take it to the damn dealer and it costs you $300 or else it won't be able to run. Remember who told you that shit. And don't buy any of those new houses either. They're made by D.R. Horton or Lennar or anything else. Because those damn things, you're going to be thrown away in 10 years if you get lucky and they last that long. If you're going to buy a car, don't go in there to the car dealer and say, hey, man, my car broke down today. Man, I got to go to work tomorrow. Oh, you do you? Yes. We got it. Oh, man, you came in the right day because I'm going to work with you, man. I'm going to work with you, and you're going to get to work tomorrow in that car. And that guy is just saying, cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. You know that, right? Your best ability is to go in and just say, I'm just looking. Thank you very much, man. Oh, wait, where are you going? Man, I told you I'm just looking, man. I don't need a car right now. Wait a minute. Hold up. Wait, hold on, man. I got 6 kids, man, and it's the end of the month. It's the end of the month, man. And I got to make my quota, man. But come on. Help a brother out, man. Then you're getting a deal. He'd rather make a low deal with you than no deal at all. Do you see the difference here? If Jerry Jones says, yeah, we're going to try and get Max Crosby, and then the Raiders, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. You waiting for them to call you. Hey, Jerry. Hey, Jerry. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? This is the Raiders, man. You guys were interested in that first round, that first round pick, that number 12, and that second round pick that you had. How about we go ahead and we can go ahead and do that. Wait, hey, son, we're not circumcising the mosquito here right now. That was before, man. We'd have moved on, man. I don't need that guy right now. I got myself Rashawn Gary, man. But you have a nice day. Hold on, whoa. Hey, man. Listen, man. We got his contract back here with that $30 million, and we're kind of in a tight spot. We were going in a different direction, and I kind of really kind of need to. I really kind of need to unload this thing, man. Can you help a brother out? Yeah, can you? Okay, I'm trying to look like a crackhead, okay? For anybody out there, don't think I'm actually being a crackhead. He's jonesing. I'm trying to be like the Raider guy. Like, he's itching. He's itching for a scratch here, trying to get this shit done. Okay, he's trying to make, but Jerry, hey, look, man. Okay, how about that number 12 pick? We call it number 12 pick. El Paso on that one there. I'll catch you later, my man. Whoa. Hey, Jerry, wait. Okay. Hey, Jerry, come on. Hey, how about, hey, Jerry. How about that number 20 pick that you got right there for Max Crosby, man? How about that one? Well, come on, man. We've done deals before. Remember, we did Amari Cooper and things like that. Remember, we got Larry Brown. Oh no, that was we got Larry Brown from you after the Super Bowl and things and everything. Come on, Jerry. We like family. Remember, my dad was like, your idol. Remember, Al Davis. Come on, man. man, Jerry. Okay, no, I appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words there, man. But you know, right now, I that number one pick, man. You know, we got some plans there, man. We need some linebackers and things here, and you know, we done spent some of that money and things out there, and you know, we can't quite afford the thing right now. But you know, I appreciate the call. Wait, hey, there's money. That's all you got. Tell you what, Jerry. How about we eat? I'm gonna do it, Jerry, just because we're friends and we go way back. How about we take $10 million of his contract and we'll pay that for him, for you. And we'll take that number 20 pick. Yeah, again, man, I appreciate it. But you know, my doctor there, he saw that knee, man. You know, he's going to need a lot of rehab up in there. And there's no guarantee he's going to be able to play for 2 more years. Well, Jerry. Okay, Jerry, come on, Jerry. How about we take your second round pick? Hey, son, you know I ain't got a second round pick this year. I do have a third. Whoa. Hey, how about your second round pick next year? And we eat $10 million of it. Well, son, you know, I got to tell you, man, you know, I used to have this beat up Bronco back in the day that I used to drive around and everything else. And, you know, I opine for those good old days when we used to make these deals and I'd bend a man on over and I'd take his glory from him. And you know what? I got a feeling that's what I'm doing to you right now, son. So I tell you what, you go ahead and send Max Crosby over here. You eat that $10 million right there, and you can take this second round pick and you know where you can put it, because that's the art of the thing that I'm doing here. Okay? So, you see what I mean? Now, the Cowboys, it's not like the Cowboys have not taken chances on players with injuries. And remember, one of the doctors that evaluated the x-rays is one of the Cowboys doctors. So if anybody knows for sure and can give guidance to Jerry, it's that guy. Everybody else said Jalen Smith will never play football. And maybe it would have been better that we hadn't spent a second round pick on him. We did get one great year out of him. You can look at Van Der Esch. You can look at Sean Lee. It wasn't that we didn't get anything out of him. We got some good stuff. We got reasonable play out of them. Yes, their careers were shortened. But if I can get me 2 good years out of Max Crosby right now on this defense would be a beast. Now, shout out to, and again, now I'm going back to the Eagles, but on Dan Saleo, they had Dr. Chow, who is an orthopedist, and he was talking about Max Crosby and the possibility or what the for prognosis is. Stacy, what's up, Stacy White? Let's go to the tape.
And everybody knew what was going on, especially the doctors that examined him. Give me your takeaway from 35,000 feet on how you saw this whole thing play out here with Crosby, the Ravens, and the Raiders.
Well, Dan, thanks for having me on. I apologize. I'm just on the phone going from surgery to the office here, but happy to chat with you here. And Dan, I feel like, I guess I am the old guy. I feel like I'm the old guy in the room in the sense that I saw all of this coming in some way. When Max Crosby was saying, hey, you know, I'm not happy with the Raiders. When we were at the Super Bowl and the Jay Glazer report came out that he wants to be traded and he's not happy with the Raiders, I'm saying, well, wait a minute here. Were the Raiders really tanking? Or were the Raiders trying to do what's right by him because he ended up having a meniscus repair? A meniscus repair, suturing, is a lot longer recovery than a meniscus trim. you don't return to play like you did from your meniscus trim if it's a meniscus repair. And the recovery timeline is typically 4 to 6 months. So I was saying back then at the Super Bowl, did the Raiders actually do right by Max Crosby in insisting on shutting him down early because of his longer recovery timeline? And then, of course, Mike Silver and others were saying he's going to be traded. And at the time, they were surprised he wasn't already traded. I was saying, well, maybe the knee had something to do with that because he can't pass a physical right now. Then sure enough, on Friday, he was traded. And on Monday, on the Pro Football Doc Sports Injury Central podcast, I explicitly said, and it's on my Twitter timeline, that he can't pass a physical right now. The Ravens, I assume, will have done their due diligence and projected him to pass a physical, but he can't pass a physical today. This was on Monday. And sure enough, Tuesday, the unprecedented happens. He, quote, failed his physical. So I guess this is what I mean. I feel like I'm the old guy in the room. I've seen this movie or can anticipate this a little bit. But let me explain something else to your listeners here. It's not as simple as it's been framed. First of all, I appreciate all the media people and even his agent, CJ LeBoy. I know his brother very well, Travis. He played with the Chargers. Anyways, I appreciate CJ LeBoy getting the surgeon for Max Crosby to say he's well ahead of his timeline of recovery and rehab. But by definition, that means he's not recovered yet. Mm-hmm. And so although it's a bad look and people are going to be really mad at the Ravens and the Raiders are really mad at the Ravens, they're within their right to say no to this because he's not passing a physical today. In addition, Adam Schefter did a lot of reporting and said they even got the Cowboys doctor involved. And that's interesting because weren't the Cowboys one of the teams that were originally in on Max Crosby? That's a whole nother level of stuff. But my point is this. In that Schefter report, it says something about future issues, evaluating future issues. So the implication there is when the Ravens did additional testing, when they saw Max Crosby, their focus wasn't just on projecting the meniscus repair to eventually heal and therefore pass him on the physical. Their focus also was on potentially what else they saw in terms of potential longevity issues for Max Crosby. I'm not saying he's got an arthritic knee and can't play anymore, but I'm saying that perhaps they're projecting some potential risk. And Dan, not every medical exam is the same. Medical exams are like draft evaluations. One GM may say he's a day 3 pick and another GM says he's a day 2 pick, right? And that's why we get this. And look, the higher the price tag, the contract and the 2 draft picks, the higher the threshold for being fine-tooth comb and looking at the physical side. It's not just about whether he can play this year. It's, are we going to get our 4 years out of him, et cetera. And I'm not saying they won't, but there was enough risk that they said no. And I hate to be so long-winded, Dan, but here's a simple analogy to make people understand. When you're buying or selling a home, you agree on a contract price. That's agreeing to a trade. And then what happens? You enter escrow, right, and there's a home inspection. You've got 10 or 14 days to inspect the home. And if you don't like what you see, you can back out of the deal, no money lost. Now you can't say, I don't like the color of the house, but you can say the paint is peeling. You don't have to have a leak in the roof to say, I don't like the condition of the roof. I feel like I'm going to have to replace it in another year or 2. Those are legitimate reasons to back out of escrow based on the home inspection. And the same can be done here related to the medical side of things.
Okay, so there you have it. So for the Raiders, the price just went down. And the Raiders, of course, we're just going to keep them. They're doing the same thing that Seattle did with Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson did. Max Crosby, yeah, I'm back, I'm a Raider, because you don't want to go ahead and pout and be pissed off and this because then it's going to break up your possibility of going elsewhere. Russell Wilson was saying, "Oh yeah, I look for finishing my career in Seattle. It's the team that drafted me, Seattle. We're not trading Russell Wilson." And damn if it wasn't a week later, he was traded for 2 number 1 picks and whatever else. So for Jerry Jones to say, "Oh, we're not in on it," I explained to you exactly why you wouldn't say, "Oh, we're going for Max Crosby," because it makes the price go up. And if you are the Raiders and if you are Max Crosby, to the outward public, you're going to say, "Hey, yeah, I'm here. I'm back. Everything's good," while you work behind the scenes to try and get a deal done. They've moved on. They've spent money elsewhere. They're looking to start over and get assets for Max Crosby, understanding that we're starting all over. It's going to be several years, probably a year or 2 at least, before we're really ready to challenge right now. And Max Crosby, well, he's kind of damaged. In 2 years, 3 years, he may not be the same guy, and we're going to be spending $35 million a year on him. So they're going to want to move him. And if you're the Cowboys, who that Max Crosby was hinting that he was going to go to the Dallas Cowboys, and if you were willing to give up a first and a second before, and understanding that you've taken risk on players before that have had injuries, like Leighton Vander Esch, like Sean Lee, like Jalen Smith, I can't see how the Cowboys, for the right price, wouldn't be interested in this. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm just like hoping that, we get something big done here and, that our team is great. Because more than anything else, I want this team to win. And I know at least 75% of the people here watching do. The other 25 are Commander fans. Shout out to Commander fans. Y'all begin to come out to woodwork now. I appreciate that. And Eagle fans. My nickname is Spanky. Okay, Spanky. Is that because everybody's always whipping your ass? Bang, bang, Niner gang. Fart homes. I still... Are we saying that I am the only person in the world who farts? Seriously. I bet a bunch of you are farting right now. I bet you a bunch of y'all just sitting there like, "Whoa, shit. That's a stinky one. Hey, baby, come here. Pull my finger." Why is it y'all using 10-year-old comedy? Is that the best you can do? Seriously, I guess I'm doing pretty good if the worst thing anybody can say to me is, "You're fart hole." You fart. Oh, boy. Wilkes County boy, what's up? I pass butterflies. What's up? Clay Lewis, what's going on? Michael Byron, what's up? Mark, what's up? Oh, sir, I love your channel. You are a legend. I don't know about that. When you say I'm a legend, that means I'm just really old, right? Jeremiah Hamilton, Eagles turds, all the fartiest criminals ever. There you go. All right, so that's all I got for you guys tonight. But I'm sure that the Cowboys will be doing some more shit tomorrow. And I tell you what, we're going to give away a T-shirt right now. Shout out. Since we have our new pick bucket, we're going to be changing. We're going to be changing some things up. Some things you'll notice, some things you won't. But we're doing things. Dirty Sanchez. Dirty Sanchez is our winner. Damn. Shout out to Dirty. Dirty, email me. I know you don't like to email. Do I still have your text? I think Dirty Sanchez. You are our winner, chicken dinner. So pick out the shirt, send me the size, and let me know. All right, good people. As always, I appreciate you guys. Be careful out there and stay safe from the Eagle fans. And Commander fans, yeah. But it's time to turn out the lights. This party's over.
The party's over. They say that all good things must end. Call it a night. The party's over. And tomorrow and next year starts the same old thing again.